I meant overall. You're like, I know.
I am bad. Okay, got it. And here we are. Oh, and I didn't comb my hair. And we're being recorded. So anyway, I have, oh, and I didn't bring it in. I purchased a 25-foot cord.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
But we're gonna, so once we get that attached, then.
Yeah, great. I was gonna say that I took out the 4 or 5, no, I trimmed, I cut 4 or 5 or more palm trees from that other tree
Oh.
and then I texted with Dan Kegel along
How's he doing?
with that. He seems fine, and he offered to come out
Oh, okay,
together
good.
next time it was it.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, because he suddenly going back to work in person was like a big deal for him, and it was overwhelming. So.
So yeah, he said he'd come out, and basically now I think what needs to be done is the soil around a tree, under a tree should be softened.
Right.
So, and it should be watered, it should be weeded, and trash should be taken away.
Right.
And that's just a constant.
Right. And by the way, I forgot to tell you, or you forgot to ask, our motion did pass on the zombie trees
Okay, good.
to write a letter to the councilman or the city
There
council
you
as a
go.
whole,
Thank you so much.
and or city departments, and the letter has to be approved by executive.
Okay.
And the grid will be attached. I don't know if Teresa's gonna review it for the grid further or not.
Okay.
But, we haven't added all the photos. I don't know that it's necessary to, I don't think it's that hard to figure out which tree is on which address. In other words, I think we have the addresses proper. But we did pass it.
Okay, good.
And I'll draft the letter. I'll have it signed by Teresa and Paul, our president.
Wonderful.
So I think, appropriately, it should be also signed by you, but I want to give Teresa,
Yeah.
she's a tree liaison.
Yeah.
So,
Great.
so that passed.
Bravo.
Helped along by the fact that the LA Times had done a story, not on our trees, but on the trees up in the forest where there had been a fire, but labeled them zombie trees. So that's a good name for these. They are 17 zombie trees. So at the meeting, I said, Times got it, zombie trees. And said, because the month before, when I had announced that we were going to have the meeting to discuss it, we kept saying deceased trees, and they kept saying, what? So, okay, I hope somebody comes to this meeting, or else we would call it quits after 20 minutes. We have to stay on 20 minutes from 7:30.
Okay. I talked to Christy today, so I expect Christy to be in them.
Okay, good.
She's one who she told me to get COVID tested.
Right. Have you been exposed to anyone who has COVID?
Not that I know
when I
of.
got my cold, I tested 3 days in a row, nothing.
Good.
But I was sick,
Yeah.
I had a cold. I don't think you're gonna get away with nothing.
It doesn't, I have taste, I have smell. It just feels like a head cold, like a nose.
Right, and you're not the only one who's had just a cold. You're going around, but I'm gonna be I'm confident you don't have my cold, because my cold, other than this, was 3 weeks ago. But it's not going away from my chest. Okay. Anyway, I see no purpose in calling the meeting to order.
So trees, so I'm gonna read it. Trees along Washington, that's my beat. But what other major streets do we have there?
Oh, that have trouble with trees?
Should have trees. is going to be scouting out Western on the western side.
Well, I think if you recall, when you and Dan did your look-see on the big grid originally, there weren't that many spaces on Western that needed trees, and they were really far from each other.
And they've been filled in.
Right.
I think the city's done left.
Right, and then the city did Venice Boulevard, although I noticed today that may be purposeful at this point. At the new Starbucks that's at the corner of Western and Venice.
Yeah.
There's a bus stop, and this is part of the stretch where they have planted all the trees, and I see a cutout
Yeah.
right by the bus stop, and there's no tree in it. But I'm guessing they wouldn't want to plant a tree where the bus could then take it out once it flourished. I'm not sure if that's the reason why it's so obviously empty, but it's an actual cutout. And then Jefferson, I think Teresa is monitoring that, but 25 trees were planted on Jefferson.
Wow, great.
Yes, but are they being watered
Yeah.
and maintained? I mean, and that's the California Conservation Corps. We haven't heard from KYCC, as you know. And
I wonder what they're focused on.
I don't want to follow up once Teresa's out of town. So I
just think the KYCC truck used to be everywhere. I used to see it everywhere.
Well, the thing is, they've got our money, and you heard what Teresa said. She said that they shouldn't be planted without 5 years of water identified. However, we have a contract where they accepted their proposal was for the amount of money we gave them, and it was for 1 year of watering and maintenance. And I think they need to work with us to identify 4 more years.
Yeah.
Rather than not planting trees.
Yes, yeah, better plant them.
Yeah.
Get them in.
And this is the time of year.
Yes.
And they should be, in my opinion, responding to us and telling us what the locations are. So it turns out that the mystery newly planted trees, they did plant them. The couple on Washington and the couple on 18th Street, but from a different project. But in the ones on Washington were some of the locations that we had identified. There's only like 5 trees, 5 or 6 trees. So, but who's watering those and who's maintaining those? Because it was a different project. So I think next week when Teresa's back, we'll do a 3, an email that copies you, me, and Teresa, and again, KYCC. All right, it is 7:33. Okay. So, what do we do? 7:35, 7:40? I mean, at some point we call it to the meeting to order. But then disbanded, this was a round robin, or do you want to just go ahead and do it round robin?
Can we do it with just 2 of us?
We can. Oh, Charlie's here. Okay.
Yay, Charlie.
Yay.
We have a meeting.
We have a meeting. Okay. So
Okay,
here.
great. Yeah, it can be short. But
Yes.
I was just going to say, hey, Charlie.
Hi.
Hi, so sorry I missed last month. I was sick, but I actually intended to come, but I just,
Oh, look at Elizabeth. She's got sniffles.
I know. It's like a snowman. I'm freezing because I've got the chills and I have a runny nose. So
yeah, I'm sorry. I hope you feel better soon.
Yeah, she's
not too bad.
She's heading downhill for a couple of days.
Yeah, I think so.
I was sick 3 weeks ago, so I know how she's gonna go there. Anyway, so we were just debating whether we're gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order with just the 2 of us, but now it's not just the 2 of us, so we'll call the meeting to order.
Oh, so excuse me. Welcome to the November 9th committee meeting, sustainability committee meeting of UNNC. I'll introduce myself, Elizabeth Benner, as the nominal, but very well supported president. And then we'll go to Laura and then Charlie.
Okay, hi. And of course, we're being recorded. So I'm Laura Myers. I'm the support person for the UNNC. Elizabeth keeps calling it the Sustainability Committee, but of course its title is Environmental Committee.
Environmental.
And I am on the board. And by the way, Charlie, I'm now the vice president again. Not president, but vice president.
Congratulations. I hope that's feeling good.
I mean, it's for Paula, Greg resigned.
Oh, I did not know Greg resigned.
Greg resigned because
Is he still on the board or he's just out?
he's out because he got a great new job, but it's a real more than full-time.
Wow.
Like live, breathe, full-time.
Yeah.
So Paula was
Him though.
president, and then she asked me to be vice president. Anyway, Christy's here, Charlie's here. Charlie, can you introduce yourself, and then Christy will do so.
I am Charlie Pop. I live in Harvard Heights. I used to be on the board, but no longer, but still around.
And Christy.
Hi, I'm Christy Webb. I live on 4th Avenue.
And I keep forgetting I'm looking at the computer. I'm supposed to be looking at the screen, the television screen.
Could you hear me?
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
absolutely. And
Super.
I'm going to share the screen with the agenda.
Okay, so it looks like that the agenda is not quite there yet, but so we'll have public opinion and that or public comment and any celebrations, any rants, anything you want to say in the public comments, just keep it to 1 to 2 minutes. And then we'll have a round robin discussion on current sustainability issues, including plastics. I think Laura can tell us something about the plastics situation here in LA, and then reusable foodware, micro grant program, and then the monarch butterflies.
And then anything else on round robin that you guys want to bring up, because that's why we're calling it a round robin.
And then we'll talk about Ciclavia in South LA, and then any other business. But yeah, we'll try to be efficient.
Okay, so I'm stopping the share. So Christy, she is wearing a very thick mask.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
I advised her to do that.
Yes.
If she was going to appear in person.
Well, we're still stuck on this, the new state law that in the case of UNNC, the only people we appoint to committees are the chairs. So we can't hold the meeting unless the committee member, which is the chair, is physically present.
Physically present? Well, that's just a good way to spread a bad cold or something.
Well, yeah, well, luckily I'm recovering from a bad cold, so I'm not going to get it. But I don't know that she has a bad cold. Anyway, but one of the things that we're in general public comments. So one of the things that is true is that the state legislature did pass a new law called SB 411. And that would allow neighborhood councils under certain circumstances to go back to being fully on Zoom or continue hybrid the way we're doing it, or be fully in person. The city council adopted a resolution that would allow this on November 1st. And so now it's working its way through the 99 neighborhood councils, but the nuance is that it requires a supermajority of each neighborhood council. So in the case of UNNC, we have to have 16 board members all together in a room voting the same way. And it's a supermajority of the board seats, not of the current board. So right now we have vacancies on the board. So we were not able to achieve that supermajority at the last governing board meeting, and I'm not really sure we will at the December one either. But we hope by January to have that resolved. Anyway, so the committees may be able to go back technically to fully Zoom, meaning we could still do hybrid, but the chairs wouldn't necessarily have to be in the public room. So we're going to continue to do hybrid when we vote for this, but it may be that, Teresa and I are here, but Elizabeth's not in Kansas, because the other thing is, unlike the past, you have to be in LA County
Really?
to participate. Yeah, to be counted. So anyway, things are changing to make it a little bit easier. On the governing board, that's a bigger question. I mean, the committees is really simple. We've got it all set up. We like the system. We've got, we're in the South Seas house. You guys, you missed it last month, was kind of interesting because they were decorating for Halloween. And at the executive committee meeting, they already had a scary clown and a scary skeleton, but every once in a while, this Zoom owl, so the wind must have hit it, so they kept going to the scary clown as if the scary clown was talking. It's like, whoa. So, but we're in the South Seas house. The governing board is meeting in a much larger room, so we're still trying to figure out, after we manage to get this done, should we keep the much larger room? Because that's what's seemingly right for our stakeholders and government officials who show up. I mean, in other words, we probably need to keep the larger room, but how many board members will be in attendance at it? So anyway, so that's what's going on bureaucratically at our neighborhood council and all the others. I have no updates or comments about environmental things, however.
I think this feels like an announcement, is that Dan Cagle is back in the house.
Oh, good.
Dan Cagle offered to go out and help tend neighborhood trees on an ad hoc basis. So I've been going out 1 or 2 times a week with some water jugs, and that's how I got in touch with Dan, is that I sent you text messages. That's something to think about.
That was a car.
Yeah, that was a car absolutely speeding past. But putting a couple of jugs of water in my car and then driving along the road and seeing something that looks thirsty, I have no problem stopping and then filling up a trash bag with weeds and trash at its base. So that's what I've been doing. Dan suggested that he was able at another time to do it. I guess I would love anybody to be on the, so on the text list, that if I just happen to be going out or you just happen to be going out and it's like, are you available, that I could text you. Because that's the kind of sort of activism that I take to much more than meetings, because it feels like something actually gets done. It's a feeling of like, this happened, and then next time I pass that street, I can see that something happened. It's harder, it just takes such a long time with it. So anyway, my announcement is Dan Cagle is back. He was away for a while, and it's very exciting.
Great. Okay.
Moving on, Christy has a story.
Does she?
Yes, she does. It very much involves the environment.
Well, you're on mute.
I know. Well, I wasn't going to talk too much about it, but I just would like to remind people that if they're doing concrete pouring or cutting, not to use blowers on it, and I think there's a requirement maybe to use water when you're doing it, so it doesn't create as much dust in the air. Because I've noticed a problem with that in the neighborhood. Close at hand, and I just think that I know there are rules about it, air quality rules, but I think that we should just be cognizant of that and make sure that contractors know that that's what they're supposed to be doing.
Okay.
Somehow tenting or using water or whatever to keep the dust down, because it creates very big clouds of dust. Or concrete dust.
Got it. Well, I don't think there was a lot of hoopla about lead-based paint and using,
Right.
protection and, I mean, not encapsulation, but, you know, you see the scaffolding and it's covered with plastic and using a HEPA vacuum and HEPA sander, et cetera. I don't think anyone's enforcing that anymore because I'm seeing lots of painting and none of those protections. I don't know why. Because the fines still exist in law. It's like $35,000. And it's to the homeowner, not the worker.
Wow.
So, but I don't think anyone's going out there making the fines. So, and I don't think concrete dust is as harmful as lead dust.
No, probably not, but it's still,
Yeah.
it's part,
Bad for
it's
someone who has-
particulate, right, bad for people who have breathing problems for sure.
Yeah.
And it's not only the people who are innocently affected, I mean, like sort of indirectly affected with it. I had some workers in the house just this week actually, putting in some plumbing stuff, and they were using power tools. And I went in and neither of them had any ear protection. It's their own ears. You would think that they would want to protect them. They were youngish. They were pretty young, probably under 35. And they just shrugged. What we need to help people take care of themselves and others. That's all.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the whole thing with the silicosis, you know, our countertops are killing people. But, okay, well, these are nice public remarks, a little sad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I was happy to have the countertop issue brought to our attention by those articles in the LA Times, because I wasn't aware of that. I mean, I'm assuming that when it comes here, it's been made in a factory where the OSHA laws and any California laws about workplaces are enforced. So, you know, I had no idea.
Well, I think maybe they had no idea either,
Right.
right? I mean, that it creates a disease that's not curable. Yeah. And I think it's for these, they're not really granite. I think it's the kind of countertops that are aggregated.
Right. I think we have that in our kitchen, actually. I mean, it's
They're
not,
very good countertops.
right.
But
What's it called?
I am forgetting.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah, but it's not like a pure stone.
No.
They're created and made out of quartz and other materials. So probably what you have in yours too. We've certainly used them in David's apartment. All right. Any other general public comments?
Charlie, can you bring us up? Can you give us anything to celebrate?
Well, she could do it on the round robin.
No, nothing on my end. Yeah, nothing too.
Yep.
Exciting. Well, definitely nothing environmental that I have to report, unfortunately. I wish I did.
All right.
Well, you long hair.
Yeah.
I know I usually have it back, but I got a new hair dryer. This is not related to anything, but it's amazing. Like if you are a person who uses a hair dryer, it's kind of life changing. So I really recommend it.
Okay. So
Right, moving on.
moving on. So we have this round robin. We have a couple of items within the round robin. So I will share this one first. Okay. So let me know if you guys can see the screen, although now, you know,
Understanding new plastics reduction.
yes, but where is it? Here we go. Okay, so essentially, the city of LA has updated their ordinance. They voted last year, but it takes effect on April. right around Earth Day, April 23rd, 2024. I don't know if that is Earth Day, but it's certainly right around it. So they've added styrofoam to the list of things that are banned for in this case, large food or beverage facilities and retail establishments is already banned. So that's why we're getting these takeouts that are either plastic or cardboard. And then the smaller food and beverage facilities, it'll be in effect on April 26th, 23rd. So, you want me to keep
Keep going,
scrolling?
please, it's wonderful.
Okay, and we, this is not news. LA adopted the first single-use carryout bag ban a decade ago for supermarkets, grocery stores. Well, it's not really a ban. You can still get a bag if you pay for it. So I'm not sure the word ban is the right one anymore, since you're, depending on where you are, you're offered either a paper bag to pay for or a plastic bag to pay for. And I must confess, I often pay for them because I reuse them in other things. And our farmers markets. Okay, so anyway, I'm just saying, we see the bags everywhere, but we have to think about them every time, so that's a good thing.
And they're not the thin, that's very thin plastic that floats away in the breeze.
Probably not, but I do find it a little difficult at Lowe's to be handed for money a paper bag, because everything's so heavy that you're buying it at Lowe's. So it's odd because Smart & Final still uses plastic bags. And then also, this is all Charlie's favorite topic, right? Disposable foodware, straws on request. I mean, all of this stuff is supposed to be reduced. So I think after I finish going through this, I'll take it off the screen, but we should talk about whether that's our experience or not. So this is all from the LA Sanitation Department. So if you go to LA City San, I'll show you right here. Well, I won't show you right there. Well, you sort of can see it right there. Here we go. You see what I'm trying to do is that lacitysan.org. And then they have a lot of different environmental topics once you get onto their website. And one of them is a 10-minute informational presentation. I think that's on the website. Can I stop the share?
Yes, sure. That's a good.
So my experience as I've been yakking along here is that the bags are not really banned. Some of the restaurants I go to still automatically stick plastic utensils, maybe they're not plastic, but stick utensils and napkins into the carryout bags. And I always say, oh no, I don't need them because I'm usually carrying out to my house or to David's house, not usually carrying out just to my car to eat. But what's everybody else's experience with that? Anybody?
Mine's the same. Yeah, I haven't noticed a big difference in, and I always say no, thank you. But even then, I feel like sometimes it feels like they just throw them away if you say no, thank you. Like they take them out of your bag and then it's like they're tainted because they've already been in your stuff. And then it's just even more wasteful. So I feel like if they're already in the bag, I just save them and use them another time. And we reuse stuff a lot too. Like you can wash it and reuse it. But anyway, I haven't noticed a big difference.
Right. Well, I mean, it is interesting because I find them at the bottom of the bags, that they've just given them to me.
I mean, until they're $1, people aren't going to change their habits about bringing. Everybody could roll up a little plastic bag and tie it with a rubber band. It would be tiny. It would fit in your purse. You would pull it out, or 3 or 5 of them, when you go to the grocery store. It would be in your car. You know, you'd have a little bag of bags, but people aren't motivated to do that because it takes that extra little step of doing. I'm like crazy. Like, that's crazy. I'm looking at myself on the screen. But they're very expensive. And people, it's crazy that our government is unwilling to ask people to be accountable for their choices. And not,
They
not
are,
provide
they
these.
are asking people to be accountable for their,
And
but
then-
it's only 10 cents
and
or
if you-
15
And if
some
you would tell me
places.
that it's actually richer people, more higher income people who buy the cloth bags,
Mhm.
and who, I don't know, maybe have that, I don't know, they just have the habit, the mental, like the mental calmness or something to think, okay, this is a detail I can put in my brain. Whereas people who are higher stressed, who have more jobs, who have a higher, more anxiety, I think, about their infrastructure. I see them in the grocery store, and I see them in Superior getting like 10, 15 of those plastic bags.
Mhm.
And it's at 10 cents a piece, it's not enough to bother about. But at 10 to 15 piece, they're spending at least dollars a week.
Right.
Very frustrating,
Well, I do reuse my bags,
but not all of them.
100% of them,
All of them?
as trash for this or recycle for that. So all the paper bags I put my newspapers into.
Yes, me too.
You know,
Paper's
and then
always.
there is those pets I have
Yes,
that,
yes.
there's always gonna be pet waste. As it were.
I'm-
Yeah, I use
yeah.
100%. Sometimes it's like, oh my God, I'm out of bags.
But let me rant just a little bit more, is that
Mhm.
you can't buy something at the grocery store without it having plastic packaging.
Correct.
You really can't. So I go down and I look for toilet paper that's not in plastic. And every now and then I find toilet paper that's packaged in paper. Christy, you were raising your hand.
Well, I just noticed something today. I bought some arugula at just Ralph's, their brand organic arugula. And the packaging is one of those bubble things, of course, but it doesn't have a top on it anymore. It has a plastic film that covers the top that you can pull back and reseal, and it says on it 35% less plastic, because they don't have a top on the bubble that holds the arugula. So, I mean,
So
it's
is this growing? Is this a arugula that's kind of growing with roots?
no, it's
Just a type of arugula?
just arugula, regular, yeah, not growing.
Yeah.
Got it.
But I'm saying that's a step. I was glad
Yeah.
to see it, that I'm still getting the bubble that has the arugula in it, because I can't buy it any other way.
And I think that clear plastic is a #1 resin, and I think that's recyclable.
It might be, yeah. Anyway, I was happy to see that, at least, that there's some attempt to eliminate some part of that big bubble plastic.
Right. Well,
I'm gonna go get it, actually.
okay. Thank you. Well, I mean,
We're making progress.
we're making progress, but sometimes I feel like I can't be guilted because I do everything in my power to reuse like everything. So if I bring home a plastic container, I don't recycle it, I use it. I'll take it with me to, leftover food, and I'll carry it then to work. And
Yeah.
oh, I see.
That's
So-
what this is what it looks like, new packaging. And this has it is kind of like a resin, I don't know. But this says 35% less plastic.
So my question would be, because I tend to not buy those tubs of lettuce and greens. I tend to try and buy them loose or at the farmer's market. So can arugula be bought loose or at the farmer's market?
not at the grocery store,
Got it.
no. And, yeah,
But like spinach, I prefer the nice and clean baby spinach, I agree.
Mhm.
And when you buy it, you know, just loose at the grocery store, it's gonna have a lot of grit and grime in it. And if you buy it in a bin like that, it's gonna probably not have grit and grime. But at that point, I'm buying the baby spinach at the farmer's market. So it is in a bag.
Yeah.
You know, so anyway. But I repurpose the plastic containers. And I feed some porch cats. They make good dishes. You know, eventually the wind takes them away. So then I'm actually making litter, unfortunately, as it were. But or they get too nasty and then they throw them away. But I don't immediately just toss them. You know, so, and I reuse all the bags. And I'm buying therefore fewer containers and rolls of trash bags.
Nice.
So there are different ways to reduce.
And then I'm sorry that if I, just felt I needed to rant there for a second.
It's okay.
Because I do like to, keep on productive, positive things we can do.
Mhm.
And the city is doing what it can. The city is making progress, right? People do what they can. I guess I want to really celebrate what garden school does, because going to elementary school and creating that consciousness in elementary school students has got to have a nice, long-lasting effect.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we can show some support to them. I mean, I don't know.
Some
if they
more
need it,
support.
More support.
Yeah, I don't know if they need it. I mean, UNNC definitely, gave them seed money for a couple of their programs. So, and years ago, West Allis Heritage did. So, but I feel like they're doing a really good job of finding support, but we should check back in and see what's the next thing they need seed money for. Okay, so the other thing is, Charlie.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I had a friend come by, so I actually need to go. I didn't, I'm so sorry that I have to go. I didn't, but it's good to have you guys. I'll make sure to be there next month, though.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Oh, Charlie, before you go though, UNNC is gonna have a booth at Ciclavia, which
Oh, nice.
is on December 3rd, and I'm pretty sure, that's a Sunday, pretty sure our booth, it's the whole Ciclavia is on Martin Luther King. From Crenshaw down to Lamar Park and then all the way east to Central. But there's a hub at Western and King. I'm pretty sure that's where we're gonna be. We'll keep you updated on emails, but I would love it if we take our environmental committee and kind of pick a time where we're at the booth.
Okay, I can do that.
And talking about our thing.
Sure.
Not the whole day, but maybe we can do
Like a shift or something.
Exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
no, I'd be open to that. I'm happy to.
Okay, cool.
Well, thank you. Nice
Okay.
to see you.
Nice to
I'm
see you.
sorry to go, but I feel better,
No
Elizabeth. I hope you continue to feel better, Laura. And bye, Christy.
but
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Okay, so the other thing is that, which I can share, the headline, oops. Oh, wait a minute, I have to do something on my end. The headline, back to Zoom. In the LA Times, another headline was that monarch butterflies might be doing better. Is the crisis over? And I don't know. I mean, it just seems to me if we had a crisis in the year 2021, we probably don't have a non-crisis in 2023. But so this is the story. It's in the agenda packet. I just kind of copied and pasted it from the Times. But it's like there's apparently a lot more monarch butterflies this year. And the question is it really over? I feel like we should still be promoting groups promote,
Always
planting,
natives.
not just natives, but
Narrow leaf milkweed.
Narrow-
Milkweed,
narrow leaf milkweed, not tropical milkweed. Even though it turns out that they like it a lot, the tropical, it's just not as healthy.
There's a parasite that
Yeah.
they transport on it.
Right.
Because it doesn't overwinters.
Right, so what they're recommending is that in this article
You take out the.
is you remove it, you know, plant it like an annual. So if you like the prettier, the only thing you can get is the tropical milkweed, just don't let it keep staying year to year. Have to pull it out and plant it each year.
These seeds, I got some seeds of that milkweed in April.
Earth Day?
Earth Day, right. I haven't planted them yet, but I assume they're the narrow leaf. Yeah.
What you can do is just wait until the next rainstorm. Wait for it
Which
to.
would be a few days from
Is
now.
that right? Oh, really?
Yes.
And
Rain this weekend or soon.
I think Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and do what, Elizabeth? Plant all the little seeds?
Just scatter them where you want them to go. Maybe rough the ground up a little bit with a rake, but you don't have to do much. If it rains on them right after you plant them, they'll take care of themselves pretty much. And I can give you some mulch to put just on top of that, you know, some of those wood shavings that I've got.
Okay, so anyway, this article, it's in the agenda packet. It's really very good. If you didn't catch it in the Times on round one. And here's where it says, if you have tropical, just cut it to the ground. So, okay, yeah.
And what I get out of this, what the hope I get out of this is that when something comes to our consciousness and we change behaviors and we change messaging, that we can do something about it. You probably know many people are indifferent to climate change, or they feel helpless, right? They feel like, oh, it's gone too far, there's nothing we can do about it, it's not our country, it's other developing countries now. And I really try to positively push back against that by saying, you know, little changes lead to big changes, or medium-sized changes lead to big changes. And so this is an example. We've defeated the ozone hole. We defeated acid rain. We can defeat climate change.
Did we defeat acid rain? Is it done?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That's it. Well, I don't know.
Right, and as a result of the acid rain, we had the first carbon, what's it called, cap and trade system in America, which is the New England REM. No, it's not. I don't remember what the name is it, but it's a big region in New England that has cap and trade.
Oh,
Yeah. So, all right.
okay. So we defeated, it's interesting because one of my first sort of science-oriented articles I ever wrote was on acid rain. But that was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
I haven't been following ever since.
Yeah.
So when it was emerging as an issue.
And I don't want to go political,
Well, then don't.
but some of those changes happened with a Democratic House and Senate and a Republican president. Just saying that if it's not Trump, then there's some interesting dynamics.
Yeah, you really are going political now, which we're not supposed to do.
I want to be against hopelessness. I want to make people feel that there's that.
You really can't be doing that.
I'm not doing it. I'm just saying that people. No, I'm okay. You know I'm not political.
Right.
So sort of.
Right.
Okay. Christy.
We can be political in the sense that we can say climate change is real.
And people should vote.
And we do believe that climate change is real.
And it's defeatable.
But we should not be political as to specific names.
Of course.
And Christy is looking up something again.
Well, I'm looking up about acid rain. I was trying
Thank
to
you.
see whether it's, and I'm trying to find out, but I found a science article back in 2012 that was asking whether it's a thing of the past, because there were efforts. It's a burning coal is what they had to eradicate. So there has been progress, yes. And there was progress as of 2012, so I assume it hasn't gotten worse again.
You see, I'm curious, I'm trying to remember what I knew when I knew it, and, but I'm pretty sure I wrote about it 30 years ago.
And I would like all of us to, sort of really celebrate. There was a time in Los Angeles, many of us will remember, that you couldn't see the mountains,
Well,
right? That you couldn't see the mountains when you were in Pasadena.
that there was a time in LA that you couldn't walk outside on certain smog-filled days without your eyes burning.
Eyes burning,
And
exactly.
that does seem to have become less. It's not gone. The smog is not gone.
No. But you can look, it's absolutely fantastic. And there's actually a implement called Purple Air. Have you heard of a Purple Air? It registers the particulates in the air, and you can buy it for $250 and put it outside your home or inside your home. And then you can look on the Purple Air map and see what the air quality is like, so that I decide whether I'm gonna go running. And this particular neighborhood doesn't have a lot of monitors. Other areas have more monitors, so that when I look at the map, I can see from block to block what the air quality is.
So you can put a monitor in your yard for other people to help track.
Yes,
Got
other
it.
people will be able to see and I've actually thought that this committee could buy one for the South Seas house. Or get, maybe pass the hat and get one for the South Seas house, so that we would always be able to see on this.
Well, or anywhere in the park.
Or anywhere in the park, sure.
Mm-hmm.
And see what the air quality is that moment. Purple Air is what it's called.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm yelling over to our park person.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, if we were to acquire a Purple Air monitor,
A pollution monitor.
would it be allowed to be installed in the park?
What is that for?
It measures air quality.
That's something that we would have to probably talk to our director or to, our higher boss, which is the this one. We'd have to come through him to be allowed in the city. We'd
Right.
have to approve it, because it depends also where he would put it and how it would affect the facade of the park or the kids
Right.
or the people who.
It's like this big.
So, yeah, I don't think it should be a problem, but yeah, it's something that you'd have to speak to our director and our.
Yeah, do you think any of the other parks have something like that? Because
It
what
should be a
Elizabeth is describing is that if you have then the software, these are all over town, and you can tell where there's good air quality or not.
I see, kind of like what you see on TV and it tells
Yeah.
you where the good air quality is flowing through and where it's not. I mean, it would be an awesome thing, we have kids around all the time.
Yeah.
More than
How-
How big is it, Elizabeth? I'm trying to look that up now.
Tiny. It's really small.
Kind of like a 5-inch ball maybe.
Yeah.
And what kind of area or place do you need to set it on?
You can put it inside. You can get the one that you can move around.
Well, that wouldn't be useful though at the park. At the park, you
No.
want it installed.
You want it installed and screwed in, absolutely. But you know how they say that gas stoves, create pollution.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody could move it into, they could loan it to a friend, so that they could check their own house.
Yeah, no, I mean, it would be an awesome thing, but yeah, that's definitely something that would be.
Yeah,
We'll
have to go.
Astrid, you'd have to speak to Astrid, you could email her, and then she would
Right.
take it to the right, email it or send it to the right.
Well, I bet you we could also buy one. I mean, if we have the money, we can maybe do a project with Garden School.
Yeah,
No doubt, put it on their facility.
sure.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's an awesome idea.
Yeah.
The kids,
Yeah, we have,
you know,
our kids are.
asthma and all that stuff
Exactly.
going around.
So you'd like to
It'd be
know
nice
on a given day, it's like, oh, let's not stay outside today.
Yes, especially for summer camp would be a great idea.
Right.
Okay, let's put it on the agenda for next week. Next month. Thank you.
Okay, cool.
That would be great.
Anyway. Okay, I see round robins are fun.
Yeah.
So
So did you find it, Christy?
Yes, about $250. It says, look for a shady place, usually a north-facing part of the house away from tall trees and local sources of pollution like air conditioning vents, units. You
Huh,
need a
That's
power outlet and a Wi-Fi signal.
okay, so it wouldn't be anywhere in the park, it would have to be near here.
Right.
Okay, and it has to be plugged in, is what you're saying. That
Apparently,
makes sense. That's good, that makes sense.
apparently.
Okay,
Good.
so we should explore that, maybe placing a few of them.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, UNNC is not rich this year, but that doesn't mean that we can't fund a couple of things like this. May not be able to do it at the park, but I'm sure we could probably do something at garden school.
Okay.
Yeah, because they have a little more control, and maybe the charter school up on Venice.
The Carson board.
Click.
Or click.
Well, no, the charter school, because you have less bureaucracy.
Okay, yeah.
You know, and the charter school on Adams
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. So let's put it on the next agenda.
Okay, we'll do. Well, you're writing it down, right?
Yes.
Okay. Because I'm just sitting here. Christy, any other environmental related anythings? I will tell you, this is just on a personal thing. UNNC, one of our other board members is trying to plant some trees, remove some trees and plant replacement trees in Western Heights. And the project's awaiting the inspection from Urban Forestry. So I was like, why are we waiting? I mean, what's the problem here? So I actually went online and filled out the online thing to get permission to plant a street tree in front of my house.
Oh, really?
Well, oh, really? That was 3 months ago and I've gotten no response. I mean, the system doesn't seem to be working because they're supposed to inspect. I mean, in other words, they're supposed to respond and look, you know, I have a place where I could plant a street tree.
Who did you send this to?
Well, it's in Urban Forestry, which is part of LA Streets. I mean, you know, it's part of Public Works, LA Streets. I mean, you know, there's a place online through Public Works that you can essentially say, hey, can I plant a street tree in front of my house? I mean, you know, but it's essentially an application for inspection, I guess. I've had no response. I did it.
All I would do is wonder and look at the fine print and see if you needed it to be improved. Because
Yeah, you can't just plant a street tree. You have to
No, I
have
mean,
a
if you
permit.
applied for the permit and they might have just automatically sort of said, okay, we trust the information you gave us, go ahead.
Oh, but they didn't send me a bill for the $15.
And you didn't have to pay for it through the
No, not at the time.
application.
Yeah, so my point is this, I mean, I'll follow up because I was really testing the system which failed the test.
Shouldn't question you.
But I could plant a street tree and I should, I've been toying with this for years, you know, because my house has a stupid palm tree on one side, but nothing on the other. So, but I have so many trees that it's sort of like, ugh, if I plant an actual street tree, then I would have to cut a different tree because it's gonna crowd it out.
Oh, nice.
So, but anyway, I'm just saying, little weird experience where the system itself failed the test, I think. And
I see. You know, I told you my niece is working at a new job with Cal Fire as head of their urban forestry division or something.
would they have money for 2 years of watering for our Washington Boulevard trees?
You know what? They might.
We need to,
They're doing something like that. Yes,
okay.
I should speak to her about it.
Could you please, because, you know, our problem right now with our Washington Boulevard tree project is that there's not enough money to water and maintain any trees that they would plant for
you know, there's enough money for 1 year.
Well,
And-
how about, okay,
And these days, you know, the rule is 3 years, but the need is 5 years.
right. I would be willing to adopt a tree.
Yes, but you know how,
I
Can we
identify.
have people adopt a tree? But
yes,
but
yeah.
I'd have to know, you know, in order to transport something in my car, I'd have to know what kind of container to get. I mean, I'd have to figure this out about, you know,
Correct.
if I had
Well,
to
the trees are,
if I have to transport my own water over there to water a tree,
correct. You'd have to know which tree it is.
right?
They, I mean, in other words,
I have one for you.
no, not, she's saying, we're talking about the planting of the new trees,
Okay.
not the existing trees.
Well, until
But then
that
the-
happens, I
but-
have one for you.
Yeah, the other
I'll
issue,
adopt a tree that's already there, sure.
right. But here's the thing, Christy,
Yes,
and I'm back on the CAL FIRE. Do they have funds? I know you don't know the answer. Here's the question. You know, we've been talking about newly planted trees and keeping them alive for 5 years. So trying to find the funds for 25 trees for 5 years.
Yeah.
And we know how much money it is per tree per year. And it's grown. I mean, when we started this project, it was $8 per visit per tree and 33 visits a year and 3 years. So we knew it's about $1,000 a tree. Now it's $16 per tree per visit, and it should be for 5 years. So, yeah, one can do the math, but it's kind of exploded from $1,000 to almost $2,000 per tree. So if we have 25 trees at 2,000, the total is not 50,000 because the first year is paid for already at the old rate, but years 2 through 4. But the
why is
question,
it that much? Because
Well, it's-
who's getting paid that? I mean, what?
this is the rate from KYCC, but I imagine it would also be
I see.
like Conservation Corps. I mean, I think these are kind of consistent rates. It's just that labor costs have increased. So that's why it's you know, we have a contract at $8. Even at the time, it was really $10 per tree, but we got one at $8. But it's not, so that's one issue. But we have all those other trees along Washington Boulevard that are sitting there not maintained and not necessarily watered. Is there money available for existing trees, for maintenance, for nurturing the soil, for watering in the summer? Not newly planted trees, but existing trees, so that we no more die. I mean, because as you know, of the 100 that UNNC planted, whenever that was, 15 years ago, 18 years ago, of the 100, at least 25 were already gone when we did our original assessment, because we had 25 planting locations. And originally, Washington Boulevard had no planting locations. And that part of that whole project was to create those squares, right? And then now another 17 trees are dead. So I'm going to venture to guess that of the 100 we planted, 50 are gone. Basically, more or less half, we lost half. That's a huge proportion. And I don't want to lose the other half. So these are, you know, I mean, I almost wonder if she could be a guest speaker at one of these meetings. On Zoom, of course.
Yeah,
So,
yes, she lives in Sacramento, so.
right, but if she, I mean, in other words, so if you could check in with her and maybe she can tell us what's available and what's realistic and how does one apply for it? Because it wouldn't be a neighborhood council applying, I'm sure. Their funds are,
So who would?
well, that's the question. Are they going to
who would it go
nonprofit?
to? Yeah,
Oh.
nonprofits.
Yeah, who's applying for the funds? Are they cities? Are they departments of cities? Or is it the nonprofits like LA Conservation Corps or KYCC or Northeast Trees? I mean, who's getting these funds, which kind of organizations, cities or organizations. So, and what are they limited in geography to disadvantaged neighborhoods? I mean, again, we have a tree canopy. The tree canopy in South LA is so much less than the tree canopy, say, in Hancock Park or certain parts of the valley. And it's becoming an equity issue, basically. But does that have, does that have anything to do with her funding?
Yeah, I know, all I know is that it has to do with urban forestry.
No,
The
I
urban forest, so it may very well have to do with certain areas of our urban environment. I'll ask her these questions.
I appreciate that. And if, because if she's got money to play with, we've got money to ask for.
I don't know that she does.
I know.
I'll inquire about that, or she may know of other resources, statewide kind of thing.
Oh,
All right, there's another issue that I've noticed. I don't know if it's growing, but on our trees, on some established trees, there is some kind of mite. And it creates that black sticky goo on the leaves. You've probably noticed it. I was by Dorsey High School today, and I noticed a full-size magnolia that was just blackened.
oh,
And what you need is like a nice big rain. I'm sure that it freezes over coldness, but I always think that, we should invest in these. I mean, we should have a couple of sprayer trucks that come around and get real high and just spray them off with, it's neem oil. Is it neem oil?
yeah.
Neem oil will kill it. But the investment, it needs an investment.
Well, that's a pest control kind of thing, so.
Do you think it is a pest, Elizabeth, or it's just that the stickiness of the trees themselves, the sap or something has collected dirt that's in our air?
Is that black?
It's their
Yeah.
Indian poop, I think it is.
It's on the hackberry tree leaves a lot.
Yes. Yes, because it's on the tree, their hackberries by the Wilshire House, where 25th Street, between the Wilshire House and the Lopez's house, people don't want to park under, because the cars get covered with this little black things, particulates. All right, actually, it's almost 8:30,
And I'm feeling poorly.
so.
I feel worse.
Okay,
So-
now we gotta go. So the other item on the agenda is just the cyclovia, and again, I'll send out, but we'll try and do something. And do we still have the seeds left over from Earth Day? Remember we had the baskets of seeds?
Yeah, we don't have the seeds, I gave them away.
You gave them all away.
Yes, because there was an event and they needed seeds. So, I have a huge number of envelopes and I have.
So we can buy more seeds.
A half a bag of seeds still.
But we can buy more seeds, and we still have those little envelopes that I bought. You didn't give away the envelopes. Got it. Okay, so let's try so cyclovia is from like 10 to 3, but let's try and get a shift in there that's us. I mean, and I'm going for the first shift for UNNC, so I would prefer that our shift be somewhere around 11, because I'll already be there.
Oh, great, okay.
Okay, all right. So I'll keep everybody up to date on that.
Thank you.
And Waha's gonna have some share of the booth.
Oh, good.
So, we're gonna have some handouts there too. So it could be the UNNC, Waha, environmental, and who knows who helping out at the booth.
Historic. Yeah, great.
Well,
great.
that's what's historic. I mean,
No, actually, yeah.
Okay.
Christy, any last word?
No, thank you very much. It's great. I will ask my niece.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey, good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.